All right, so I hope that clears that up for everybody. If you were following along, you kind of realize now any lowers where the trigger part is, what they call a receiver, that's a no-go if you don't have an FFL. If you start doing that, you are breaking the law and you could get in trouble. If it's just the slide, a barrel, I was kind of happy to see that the engravings that I had done in the past, I didn't break the law because I had only done slides before. In fact, those pictures are some slides that I did for somebody, but I was happy to find out that that wasn't against the law. So it's not too difficult to get an FFL. You have to submit an application. He did call me back. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my iPhone to record, but I'll give you the remainder of what we discussed. He said it takes about 60 days for them. They'll come out within 60 days and do an interview after you submit your application. And if you meet all the other requirements, like you're not a felon, you're allowed to handle guns and all of that after they do your background check, and you have your license to be able to do it in your area. Another thing that I know is required, you have to notify in the area where I live. This could be different where you are, but here in Alexandria, Virginia, you are required to notify the highest law enforcement official in the area. They're not part of the approval process, but they need to know that you're doing it. So you have to send them like a letter. So for here, it would be the sheriff's department. I have to notify them. And then if all those things are good, and you will be issued your FFL, and then you can start doing lowers. And the requirement is if you're keeping it overnight, there's a log. You have to keep the log, which they can come and check that log to make sure you're doing things correctly. But basically, it's about $200 application process, and then it's a couple $100. I think what he said was $200 for the first 3 years, but I don't know that he had those numbers exactly right. I think it's $200 for the application, then $100 every year to keep renewing it. If you're getting enough requests, that's pretty easy money that you're going to make back. I checked with some local places that do them, and to do like the lower part, to do like the lower engraving that I get the request for, most places are charging about $125 for that. So it's just one of those things you got to decide, do you want to open yourself up to that level of scrutiny? Do you want people bringing firearm parts? And if you have your FFL, they could be bringing whole firearms to your house. But all things you want to, consider and look at. The other thing, if you haven't watched all my videos, or if you've seen the videos before, you also want to make sure you have a powerful enough laser. And that was why I held off. Now that I have the 60-watt MOPA, it's super powerful. It has no problem meeting the requirements for that ATF engraving, which is it has to be 0.003 inches deep. My new laser, zero problems. With 2 passes, it goes 0.007 deep. So even almost 2 times what's required. It is something you want to consider. Also about time. The other reason I held off before in the past was because of it being a knife sharpening shop and laser engraving. The 20-watt lasers were taking way too long to do a big gun engraving. And if you have a more powerful laser, a 60-watt, 100-watt, and that's, the more I think about it now, I think that's the range you want to be in. I would say you want a minimum of a 60-watt laser to a 100-watt laser if you're going to be doing firearms. At least that's my opinion on it. You could probably get by with a 30-watt. It might take you a lot longer than you want to spend on one engraving. And then again, it depends on what you're doing in your shop. If all you're doing is engraving, maybe that's not a big deal to you, but I'm doing other things in here and lots of knife sharpening, and I won't have to wear my laser safety goggles and stuff for, an hour and a half engraving or something like that. All right, that's it. I hope that clears it up for everybody. I will talk to you soon. And hopefully, if you're doing anything wrong, you can stop doing it. Make sure you got all the right things in place, because trust me, you don't want to get in trouble with the ATF or firearms. That kind of stuff can really haunt somebody when things go south there. You might, like I said, I know a guy's been doing laser engraving for 30 years. He's doing it wrong, and he shouldn't be doing those those lower AR parts because he does not have an FFL. Keep that in mind. Don't get in trouble. You know, in my opinion, this is not something you want to have to ask forgiveness for later. It's something you want to make sure you're doing right out the gates. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.